Welcome to Fighting for Our Lives. Okay, today is a subject matter that makes my blood boil, to put it simply, okay? And that is allowing children, our kids, say up to 16, to take drugs or to start drinking. For me, on a personal level, and spending time around young men and women who started drinking and taking drugs, experimenting in drugs from a young age, ended in an increase in the use and a reliance on the use of drink or drugs, or both. What people, and I think what some parents fail to realise, is they think they've got this stupid mindset of things like weed, everyone does it, that's not too bad, as long as they don't do A, B and C. You know, or drink, all kids do it, we all did it. That's the problem there. Kids do not need to drink. They don't need to experiment in drugs. That's something they don't need to do. They don't have to do that. If, as a parent, we are able to sit down and talk to our children beforehand and explain to them exactly why adults drink and the risks of what happens when adults drink and it becomes something that they rely on. Okay? Why this is not in schools is probably another video. Okay? But we talk about society with kids now in terms of the stabbings, and a lot of bad things going on out there in society today. Everyone understands that, everybody sees it. But we have to look at our responsibility as elders, as parents, our siblings. We're all part of society, and it's our responsibility to be able to let these kids understand the risks, the real risks of what happens just by experimenting, just by drinking that first drink, just by taking that first drug, where that can actually lead. Okay? And that's just the fact of just engaging in that activity. That's not looking at it in terms of why your child might be looking to escape or might feel they need to take something to block out whatever's going on in their lives. Okay, and again, these are things about being a proactive parent. Obviously, there's many times when we can't be there all the time. We can't always see signs, obviously. But there's a lot of things we can do to make sure who our children are with, where they are, how they behave, how they are on a regular. When if you're seeing your child all of a sudden, their mannerisms and their characteristics completely start changing. But there's a red flag. All of a sudden you're seeing your kids is asking for more money, but they're not bringing back nothing, no clothes or no normal things what they normally spend money on, computer games or whatever. Okay, they're coming in later. They're not being as consistent with telling you where they are. They're lying. They're hanging around with new sets of friends. Okay, these are all things that we must start looking at to stop. All it takes is one drink or one drug to kick in a process that ends in a bad way. Certainly when I was younger, everyone was doing it. Everybody was doing it. There was no fear about trying things out. If anything, it was a badge of honor to say I've drank more, or I've taken more this, or it was almost a badge of honor. And when you look back on these same people now, these same youngsters who were doing that then, many of them are alcoholics, many of them are drug addicts, many of them are not even here no more. And now looking back, many of them already had severe mental health issues, trauma that they were trying to cover up. And they found a blanket in drugs, in drink. We've got to get rid of this, it's normal, because it's not normal. And when we look at, if we all take a look at our own family members, the ones who always used to drink, the ones who always used to be smoking the weed, the ones who are always doing the what's, and the other, everything. Now if we're honest with ourselves and we look back, it is not healthy, it isn't good. And in many households, this drink that's actually the thing that causes the most damage, and the scars and the memories that these kids now grow up with because of certain family members who drank to an extent, where there was violence, no money, and certainly for me, drink was not something that was fun to be around as a child. Drink, looking back for me, there was always something negative. Not every time, even if it was someone being sick or shouting or a car accident, there was always something along the lines of something negative, But then to see the kids then go through that same thing. But there's dangers now. There's more dangers now. Today in society, there's more dangers. There's knife crime like never before. There's people getting spiked like never before. There's people getting taken off the streets, young girls getting taken off the streets. There's young girls having things done to them in nightclubs, in parks, like never before. The fundamental difference in children now who are drinking or taking drugs, smoking weed, whatever you think maybe not that bad, it's bad when their awareness is impeded. Their ability to sense danger, to realise they're in a dangerous situation is impeded. Now, for whatever reason, like I say, in schools, there isn't enough about the risks around drinking and taking drugs. There just isn't. And to be quite honest, in most households, there just isn't enough people being open and upfront about that. Even in terms of a sexual nature, some young kids who are going to be drinking and taking drugs, that can end in real negative, traumatic incidents for some young females, and maybe some young boys sometimes. And this is all around the drink and the drugs. For me, there will never be a time when I tell my kids it's okay, it's normal. Because it's not. Because in my life, there's too many incidents where those young kids who started drinking from an early age carried on. And it was almost the beginning of the end for them. because it just become a crutch, Dutch courage, a comfort blanket. If your kids have an issue, they need to be able to talk to you or need to be able to talk to someone, not just to go and hide behind some smoking weed or smoking whatever or drinking. We've got to be looking out for those red flags. Because like I say, there's many around, young, talented children with the world at their feet, who then get into drinking and drugs and partying. It all just goes downhill from there. And I speak from being in that situation, from having trials at Chelsea to knocking it all on the head and just thinking, no, I prefer partying, drinking, having fun. You think it's having fun, it's not having fun. You're engaging in dangerous behaviour in many ways. Especially now you're around a lot of different predatory people. So, I would definitely, if you see your kid, he's acting different, or showing any signs or red flags that make you believe that they're engaging in something, do not tell them or tell yourself, oh, it's okay, they all do it. Please do not do that, because you're missing on a massive opportunity to save your kid's life in many ways. Because the first thing I'm going to do, me personally, is ask them why they think it's okay. And if they think it's okay because it's fun or whatever, and I'm going to explain to them why it's not fun. I'm going to explain to them why it's not fun until they get it. Don't get me wrong, it's, when you get to an age where you're responsible and you can be responsible around drinking, or you get to an age where your kids get to an age where it's down to them. That is what it is. But while they're young, while they're 16 and under, you are the one who needs to be responsible for what they do. Because if your daughter starts drinking and taking drugs and the next thing she's pregnant, that's not the girl's fault. Or your son does the same thing and gets someone pregnant at a young age, that's not their fault. We need to be proactive in terms of making sure the young children of today are clued up on drink and drugs. And there's just not enough in terms of the realities of both of those that's being put through. Because like I say to you now, there's no youth clubs anymore. There's hardly any. There's hardly any places for the youngsters of today to go to. So it's a lot more common now for them to be engaging in that in a park or around someone's house or wherever. Because again, it eases the boredom, don't it? Or increases the chaos. That young age they think is cool. They think it's cool. Because they see their parents, their older brothers, their siblings, people in their families engaging in that same behaviour. Or they're seeing people on TV, the people they look up to, sitting there smoking. Or rapping, singing, talking about drugs and drink. But it's not all cool, by any means. When you sit in a room full of people where drink and drugs is ruining their lives, and they started off all the same as innocent young kids who started that same thing because everyone else did. The least we can do is make sure our children don't have to go down that same route. Even if it means them being able to question their friends. Why are you doing that? Why are you getting so drunk? Why are you sleeping with so many different people when you're drunk? Why do you feel the need to do that? Maybe that there's some of their friends who haven't got responsible parents. But at least we can produce responsible children and kids. And it's just a better thing for society as it goes on and on and on. Because just look at the sexually transmitted diseases. It's just everything is through the roof. The kids now at the younger ages of taking even stronger class A's is through the roof. And we must be naive as a society if we think we don't have to address that, because we do have to address it, and we have to address it more now than ever before. Please, this video is about looking for signs in our children and making sure that they don't go down that route. They don't have the mindset of thinking it's cool. They don't have the mindset of thinking it's okay. This is now a new way that I can deal with my issues and my problems. Because it's danger. When you're able to see the end effects of what starting off young can do to someone's life, you would do more into making sure that don't repeat. Okay, another video. If you find anything in today's video that is affecting you, please contact your local doctor, your local GP, your local drug centres. Look on the internet. I think there's a lot of different agents. I'm not saying there's a lot. There's different agencies that deal with younger people. It definitely is where I live. There's one or two agencies for younger people in terms of counselling, mental health and things like that. Just look at that, because it's something that for me is a real important and huge thing. Children are they're the future for this world. And it's our responsibility to make sure that they don't go through the same pitfalls as many of us do. We don't want them fighting for their lives before they've even got to an adult stage. Okay. Take care. Keep fighting for your life. Never stop.